Hey there, Hank and John, random guy who enjoys your videos. Maybe a nerd fighter, maybe not. Not sure if it's a official thing, sign up and all that. And no, I cannot explain why I'm wearing a pair of goggles with the rest of my outfit at all. I was blanking on my mental script when I decided, shortly after making this video, and I'm just going to have to improv it. Pretty much, I've been hit by a huge dose of world suck recently within the last 2 years, and I was briefly wondering if you could potentially go ahead and give me any advice. You could make a video on it or whatever you want. I don't really care. But anyways, I'm just going to start from the beginning and roll along there. The best way to start is to probably simply say that I made the absolute worst mistake any homosexual person can ever make, and I fell in love with a straight best friend. Yeah, so that happened, and it really, really sucked, because pretty much the entire time I knew that they'd never want to have any relationship other than a friend, and I spent 6 years even still attempting to basically show him that I cared and everything, even though that I knew basically he would never feel the same way about me, and even more so, that I've probably just been that creepy friend, although we ended up becoming best friends, and for 6 years this went on. And that was okay, that was awesome, because at least I had him as a friend, right? Then he gets a girlfriend, and that's cool, it's okay, I understand, Then they get married at 18 and 19 respectively. And, hey, that's okay with me. I think that's like a little bit young, play the friggin' field a bit, but they actually legitimately did love each other. It was this horrible Disney-esque thing going on. It's like, that's not supposed to happen outside of the horrible Disney film. But it did, you swear that the birds would friggin' sing louder when they were all hanging around having their fun. So that's cool, right? And it did hurt a bit, but, I understand, that's the way life rolls. What hurt even friggin' worse is, of course, being his best friend, I also had to be his best man. And there's absolutely no worse feeling in the world than to stand there and toast the union to a couple that you wish you were a part of, and know that you at the same time never could be, period. His brother-in-law later caught me at the pier at the random retreat place that they got married at, crying very hard. And I had to convince him that I, in fact, fell and hit myself in the nuts, because I did not want, at that time I was still turning the knob, so to speak, of that closet door, and I really didn't want to incriminate myself, and my light is a motion light, and it never stays on really well. So that happened too, right? And combine that with I have divorced parents, and I lived with my dad, and he remarried a woman who can only be described as a complete and total, well, I guess I'm not going to cuss here, but I should, and you all probably know what word I was about to say, and a lot of you people out there are probably thinking it's not warranted. Well, it is. It really is. When you ground someone because they dropped a fork at dinner and it clattered, and it made a fairly loud noise when it clattered, there is no other words. And no, that's not a story. That actually happened, and it was for 2 weeks. So I'm living with her, right? And she has all these really weird issues and problems, and I swear she should be on some kind of meds. And literally the very night that I graduate high school, just because the entire time she saved me, I come home from hanging out with my friends after graduation, we went to a restaurant and we had a mini little party, right? I come home and I'm thrown out, right? I pack up, right? My dad decides, I'll take him to California for a week, and then he has to find his own little place. We'll have one last hangout, hurrah. And, so that happened. I'm thrown out, but my dad's like, it's okay. So we went to California, we hung out for a bit, and that brings me to 2 years ago. And so all this happened, that wedding and me being thrown out happened within 3 weeks. So already I was in a really bad spot, both emotionally and physically, because I wasn't getting much sleep because I couldn't sleep, And after this little vacation, I wound up having to move in with my mom. in Beckley, West Virginia. The only way to describe Beckley, West Virginia is every single horrifyingly creepy small town you've ever seen in any movie or Silent Hill video game. People populated by the biggest jerks and walking bags of living suck you've ever met in your life. And to emphasize this point, this room looks nice because normal people live here. Normal people own this house. To that way is a house that has a meth lab, the house across the street deals crack, and the guy over there deals pot. And despite the fact that we've reported all this, the police can't do jack about it because it's out of their jurisdiction for the city, and the deputies for the area are apparently in on it. Person I actually loved is more than just a friend, got married, and I had to be the best man. I got thrown out of my home, and I moved to the absolute plane of suck within about a month and a week. So that's the setup situation. To continue this, I have not been able to make a single friend in the last 2 years, period, regardless of how hard I try. All my interaction has been online. All of it. Every last single bit of my interaction with other people who aren't family members and really old and don't know what I'm talking about when I say, I could open this if I had a doctor's screwdriver. So yeah, I've basically had nil for social activity for 2 years. And because I was also basically misused, being the best man, that's a good word for it, I've pretty much been crying myself to sleep the last 2 years, and I've just finally gotten over that whole deal. But because of that, for the bulk of the last 2 years, all of my Facebook messages and all my statuses that I put on social media have been rather depressing, and it drove what friends I had who were willing to have some form of online interaction away from me, and now I'm even more isolated. And I only got 2 more months here, and then I'll be able to afford to move back up to Alaska where I used to live. I'll be with some of my actual physical friends again, but in the meantime, that's still compounding loneliness from the last 2 years, and it's 2 months. So a lot of people might go, oh, it's just 2 months. It's 2 months. Added to 2 years. And everyone has a breaking point. Everyone has a limit. And I found my limit. I found my breaking point. And I found it a year and a half ago when I ran out of stuff to do. So my question for you, Hank and John, is what should I do to either keep myself sane and to patch up my relationship with my friends, who apparently are just ignoring me because they assume no matter what I say, I will be depressed for the reason that I have no one to hang out with. I still have never managed to get a boyfriend, and I lied about it a lot because it's one of the very few things that actually matters to me in the world. Or I pissed him off when I broke away from Christianity, turned atheism, and had a bit of God hate going on because I kept reading the news articles of, like, basically Christians killed gays, and yeah, that's pretty horrible. But I'm over that now, and I would like to patch up those old relationships so I can actually have friends again, because even a 5-minute I am session with one of my old friends, it can keep me going for the rest of the day. So anyways, that's my questions, and hope you have some form of advice for me or some kind of thing. And also, I do have one final question, and that is quite simply, do I look good in these goggles, and will they be okay with the steampunk outfit I am currently working on?